Hey folks, my guest today is Hong Dong. He's the founder of Y42. Started his career though in the live event business, and in 2014 he co-founded Party Like Gatsby, a global event series hosting more than 100,000 guests. Driven by thin margins, he needed great data infrastructure that ultimately ended up with him building a tool called Mitra Intelligence, which ended up being acquired by a German Fortune 100 company. There, he realized a massive need, which has helped him build his current company, Y42, an easy and scalable data platform. Hong, you ready to take us to the top?
Cool. Nathan, I'm such a big fan. Thanks for having me on this podcast. Very excited.
You bet. What does Y42 stand for?
I'd be very pragmatic. 42 is the answer to everything in the universe. If you have read The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, why is, why 42? And I'm being very pragmatic here. Hey, it's a three-letter.com domain, okay? It's That's unbeatable. So you cannot beat us in SEO. I know I lose a lot of romance when I say that to the nerds out there that follow us because of the name, but that's the reality.
Oh my God, I love this. Okay, this is great. So tell me a little bit more about who's using this tool. Is it really the marketing team that does not know how to code, or is it really like data engineers that want to do their work faster?
So our go-to-market is very simple. We acquire companies that hire their first data engineer, data analyst, the first data person, so to say. And this data person doesn't want to stitch together 5 or 6 different tools like integration, orchestration, visualization, transformation, whatsoever. And so they want to go with an all-in-one tool. And this is why we are the very natural choice for any company that starts out with a data journey. At the same time, so the only math that we really have to solve is how don't we let them outgrow us?
Mm-hmm.
That's
Mm-hmm.
the whole business model. Fun fact, like you said in the beginning, I actually built this tool with SMEs in mind. So I was running the entire data pipeline for this German Fortune 100 company that acquired us, and I analyzed the data, and I had to build that infrastructure for other people to consume. And so I feel in the event industry, you have a lot of data. So you have like huge amount of people, we were analyzing all the events from Ed Sheeran, Justin Bieber, the biggest festival whatsoever. And there are hundreds of thousands of people producing billions of data points, but the people who were consuming this data were not the most sophisticated. And so this is why we had to build something very easy and scalable, but also in a setup of a rather big company, but somehow, it works out very well for startups, this value proposition. And this is how we went to market. However, we see a very increasing interest from SMEs, which would be harder for us to close as a young startup, and which is why we didn't focus until this point. But I think moving forward, SME will play a very big role within our go-to-market as well.
Let's circle back to that in a second. But first,
Yeah.
your current customers. I mean, what are they paying you on average per month to use the technology all in one?
Yeah. So 10 to 30 K is the annual contract value. So it's somewhere in the middle. The average would be
Mm-hmm.
around 20K.
Okay, around 20K. That's great. And then take me back to how you got this going. Now, are you a sole founder?
Yes, I'm a solo founder.
So I want to dig here a little bit because everyone always tells you, like, oh, you need co founders, you need balance. But I think you had a bit of a financial win when you sold Amitra. Did you pour basically all of those winnings back into Y42, and that's why you own 100% on day one?
Yes, something along this line. But I grew up in Vietnam actually, and I came to Germany when I was 8. So I actually grew up, not very wealthy, and so I wanted to take a lot of the money that I made and give it to my family and my parents. That was very important to me. So and whatever was kind of left, of course, all in. I went back into Y42. I still, at my previous company, I built a data solution, very niche, just for the event industry. And this time I wanted to go all in and say, hey, I can build it globally. I can make this, I can build a company in Europe, a data stack that the world has not yet seen. And so that's why I came back into the game. And to be fair, when I say it came in with little money, I could have done it for a long time by myself. And this is why I started out with, hey, I'm the solo founder. I'm going to dictate how it goes. I don't really need VC money, and I'm going to build it, from a clean slate. It doesn't matter how long it takes me, but I'm going to build this tool that solves the problem first principle. And I don't want to stitch together 6 different tools to solve that, problem. And basically, like battling complexity with complexity. So really, how do I solve it? Clean slate. I could have spent like 2-3 years building it, right? But would have been a bad choice because we need customer feedback along the way. And this is why, sorry I extended the question a bit to sum it up. I am the solo founder. It has massive advantage, but don't do that if you don't have the benefit of, having some, let's say success before, that people are actually drawn to you and say, hey, I would join you on this mission because they've seen that I had a level of success before. And doing that way, I'm capable of having roughly 10 to 20 people that, have a small share in the company, but they are very strong. They're as strong as, an old co-founder that I would have. So I feel like at the price of one co-founder, I have roughly 20 co-founders.
So that's effectively, you're talking about your employee stock option pool. What did you set that up? Is like, we're talking like 10%, 20%. How big did you make that?
Actually very big. So it's like a split right now, deducting all the dilution through, the seed and the Series A round. I think the effective split is 60-40 right now, without 60 for me, 40 for the employees, without calculating the VSOP pool, which has not been distributed yet. So it would be a rather 50-50 split.
If on a fully diluted basis.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I love this. I love the model. I love that it's a sole founder. You can make decisions. You can play a long-term game because you had your own success. How old are you?
I'm 30 by now.
I love this. Okay. So 30 years old. Can I ask how much of your own money you put into the business?
It's going to be in the six figures range.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So between 100,000 and $1 million, your parents and your family are happy. When you sold Mitrix, you gave a bunch back to or Mitra. It sounds like you gave a bunch back to them, huh?
Yeah, exactly.
What did your mom buy anything interesting when you gave her a bunch of money?
Yeah, I mean, so we are from Vietnam, like I've said. So yeah, we did buy a property there in Vietnam.
I was curious if you were going to say like, she bought, a chicken farm or some really random thing, but okay, property. That's pretty normal. Yeah. Anyways, you're all in on the business. You're scaling. When did you write the first line of code for the business?
First line of code, early 2020.
2020. Okay. Yeah. And you wrote the initial code, right? I mean, you wrote the MVP?
Yeah. Roughly 50% of the front end code that you would see was written by me.
Yep. Okay.
And now it's not the case anymore. It's getting less and less. But yeah, it used to be written a lot by me.
And when did you get your first customer? Do you remember who it was? Can you tell that story?
Yes. It was an SME, actually. Funnily, I just said we don't chase after SMEs, but it was one because we came in with a strong recommendation from one of our business angels, also a very close friend of mine. As a fun fact, he's the Prince of Austria, technically speaking, coming from the House of Habsburg, which, I know you're in the US, you don't know that, but it's the most influential aristocrat family that ever existed in Europe.
Is this La Famiglia?
No, it's not La Familia. It's an angel of ours.
Okay.
He's a very good friend of mine, and he did everything he could. He was driving us around, introducing to all the SMEs, and they really need a data solution, right? And so we came to this company called Filoro. They're making they're making over $1 billion in revenue, like that's how big they are.
Wow.
And they don't have the data solution yet. And they look at ours, it's like, wow, it's so easy and so simple. And this was in September. To be fair, it took us 6 months until we onboarded them on the platform. So, but they were the first effective client. Like it's signed ARR, not really realized. Realized was roughly in March. And so that was our very first client. Yeah.
And how many now have you scaled? How many today now, Hung?
So we went to pilot, September, and it was more like friends and family like begging, hey, please use our platform, kind of attitude for a long time. So we were getting 1 or 2 customers that way until February, and where we raised our seed round end of February, and then we went to TechCrunch, Frederick from TechCrunch, he was so kind to actually, hey, it's just some random Berlin data startup. Like, I'm just going to write a very nice article about them. I think it was like the longest TechCrunch article he has written in a long time, linking my LinkedIn, the video. So really the reason why we started growing so fast was because of the one TechCrunch article of Frederick, who I'm still very thankful for until this day. And this is when it marks when we really went to market. And I be very honest to you. So I love to, review as much numbers as I can. And I want to do that very truthfully until one point in time, which was when we raised the Series A. And so that was early summer. And by that time we had 50 clients.
50. Got it.
Yeah.
And so you did, I guess you did a 3 million round earlier this year. Is that right?
Yeah, exactly.
And then what was the more recent round?
31 million.
31. Okay. And that, would you consider that, I guess, your Series A?
Yeah, that was our Series A.
Tell me about how you think. I mean, you're obviously very dilution sensitive. You're a sole founder, right? When you raise that kind of money, you get diluted, right? So how'd you think about that round?
We diluted, within the reasonable range, I would say. But I can say, with confidence that.
Hung, I mean, I'd say reasonable Series A, average Series A. You're selling 15% of the business. Were you sort of in that same range?
A little bit more.
A little bit more. Okay, 15 to 20. Fair.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay. And so I guess why take the dilution? Tell me about the strategy behind the money, where you plan to spend it.
Yeah. So first of all, the kind of business that we are, I'm a big fan of Seb Evans, and I know you just talked to him recently. It's a very similar model that we're playing, like an all-in-one tool that, just replaces them all. And this kind of tool, and I know he made it work, but we cannot make it work as easily because we need to have the trust factor, like the stamp. Hey, this is something, I'm trusting them with my data infrastructure. This is a random $3 million dollar seed round company. I'm not going to trust that they will be around much longer. So it's a huge trust factor that we actually win by, diluting, putting ourselves out there. To be fair, we're based in Europe, we're based in Berlin. And so you have to know that this round is probably one of the biggest round that Europe has ever seen for a SaaS startup in Europe. Also probably, if not the biggest valuation also. And this puts us
for a seed round.
For a Series A round.
For a Series A. Yeah.
For a SaaS Series A in Europe, probably one of the biggest rounds, also biggest valuation that Europe ever had. And that puts us in an extremely favorable place of being able to hire the best people, being able, and obviously.
How many people today?
We are 70 people today.
70. How many engineers?
40 engineers.
40. And you did see, I mean, when that press came out, that enabled you, that gave you leverage hiring top talent.
Yeah, but it just came out like literally 2 weeks ago. So we were already at the size when that came out. And now, of course, we rather grow to like 100 to 150 people. And like doubling the team makes it much easier to get the same quality that we have, or even a bit higher when we double the team.
Mm-hmm. Now, Hung, 50 customers at that $20,000 average ACV, that puts you right around $1 million run rate today. Is that about accurate?
Yes. When we were raising the round, that was around our number. Yes.
Got it. And that was, I guess, you raised around maybe a month ago is when you were raising. So you're
a couple of months ago. So when we got into the process, it was early summer.
Okay. But when you launched the process, you were already north of $1 million run rate?
When we launched the process, we were at roughly 800K, but there was, we had a contractual upsell also within so we, for example, a startup, we give them, hey, a discount until the end of the year. And if we were counting the contractual upsell, then it would go, above the 1 million range.
Very, very cool. So I mean, maybe you're at like 1.2, 1.3 today. What do you think you'll finish this year at? Can you get up to 2 million run rate by the end of December, or is that too fast?
We don't think that's going to happen, but so the reason why is, you have to understand that this number that we accomplished, we were like a very small team. We had one salesperson, only it's my colleague Bachai. We had one SDR and one marketeer. So that was the total team. And this one salesperson is now, also our VP of growth. And so he was doing that almost as an IC, and he would close every possible deal out there. But now he has to step back and, onboard a new people in the sales team. And so we lose a lot of conversion. We lose just because there's an onboarding process of new AEs. So we're probably going to continue the same trajectory until the end of the year. But by next year, of course, we have a much higher ambition.
It's a big year. I was going to say next year is a big year for you. Can you go from $1 million run rate to 5, 6, 7, 8 million in 12 months? That'd be exciting.
The plan. Yes, that's the plan. We hope so too. But I think, I'm going to release it here first. I'm actually going to release it at Data Council at the end of the year, big on stage. But you've heard it here first. We are in the process of releasing a completely new software that's probably going to really revolutionize, the data industry. And we're going to launch it, reveal it at Data Council. Not going to say exactly what it is because, otherwise I cannot reveal it at Data Council anymore. And I think that will put us on a trajectory of go to market using product-led growth.
Is it a new module like integrate, model, orchestrate, visualize, or is it a whole new product?
It's a whole new architecture and infrastructure behind it. So that's what we have been working on for the past 6 months by now, and we're very excited for that to launch. And I think that would change the trajectory a lot. And of course, the fundraising that we did. I mean, we cracked that. We did some ARR in a short amount of time, and it's very unlikely for the type of product that we have that is just so brutally big in order to still push it to the market. But I really feel the fundraising happens a lot also on this product, on the product vision that is coming up next.
Yep. Well, I can't wait to see what you do. If you're doing about $100,000 a month today, do you remember what you were doing exactly a year ago?
Around the same time in the year?
Sorry. Like 1 year ago, what was your revenue run rate?
I cannot tell you exactly that, but I think it was around 50K.
50K.
AR, like 50K in total around.
Oh, got it. So you're doing like $4,000 a month.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. So from $4,000 a month to $100,000 a month, that's a good growth rate.
Yeah. Yeah. That's let me count. Sorry. So we had around 3 customers in November last year.
Okay.
Yeah, around that. Yeah.
Good growth makes it. As I say, the valuation story, people are listening and they're going to be going, wait, he raised at basically like 120x revenue multiple, right? But if they believe your story, if you look at your background, if you look at your growth rate, these things start to sort of make sense, right? So that's sort of why I asked the question. But we're excited to see what you release. Is there anything else, Hung, that I missed that you definitely want to touch on?
No, actually.
Awesome. You like that? Still think you'll focus on selling to, again, the growth engineer, the head of data, that same job title?
Yeah, data analyst, head of engineer. I think the type of product that we are is, we are an all-in-one tool that helps people integrate with data, visualize, orchestrate, do the entire data pipeline within one tool. And we offer also no-code, low-code platform for people that that are not very good with SQL, but we also offer SQL at the same time. And we really want to, as a philosophy is, we want to bridge the gap between the business user and the engineers, just because I'm an engineer, I love to write code, I love to write SQL, but at the end of the day, my counterparts, they're consuming the data, they make decisions based on that, and they have to be involved in that process. So we're almost solving like a philosophical problem. So it's not about, a technical problem. It's really an organizational and business problem that we're trying to solve with the product.
We're looking forward to seeing what you do. And hey, I meant to ask you this too. When you raised that 3 million seed earlier this year, what cap was that at? Was that like 10, 20 cap?
You mean valuation or like?
Oh, was that a priced round or a note?
It was a priced round, actually.
Oh, yeah. Was the valuation around sort of maybe 20 million back then?
It was a little bit less.
A little bit less. Okay, fair. Great. Let's wrap up here with the famous 5. You cannot say Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy for the first one, but what is your favorite business book?
How to Win Friends and Influence People by The Accounting. I know a lot of people say that, but I think that's a very important book.
That's a good one. I'm trying to remember what Zeb said. You listened to that interview? That was a really good interview I had with him. I'm excited to get that out and published, but he said the same thing. Number 2, is there a CEO you're following or studying?
Zeb Evans.
He's a good one. Number 3, what's your favorite online tool for building the business?
I know I should say ClickUp, but it's probably Slack.
Do you use ClickUp?
Yeah, of course we use ClickUp.
Did you switch to them, or were you using someone else before?
We abandoned everything for ClickUp.
Who did you abandon? Name someone. Who were you using?
We were using everything before, Jira, Asana, whatever. It's just, all in one. And the thing is, I follow Seb a lot because the way he builds a product, the same technologies also, like his front end is, Angular 12, 13 by now. And like everything he does is extremely similar to the way I think also. And I'm sure there's a lot of problems he already solved before where I can just mimic the way how he does it. I love to get to know him. So Seb, if you ever hear that, I have you on my LinkedIn even, but I haven't texted you yet. So
I will introduce you. I will ping him real quick and ask if he's open to the intro. I bet he'll say yes, and I will tee up an intro. Okay.
Thank you so much, Nathan.
You bet. All right. Number 4, how many hours of sleep do you get every night?
I wish more than 6 hours, but it's only 6 because I'm a person that produces a lot of hormones, and in a good way. Like I'm very excited and just, I have a million ideas again. I cannot fall asleep because of that. So it's a rather positive stress that doesn't let me fall asleep and stay asleep long enough. But so it's on average 6 hours. I wish it would be 7 or 8.
And what's your situation? Married, single, kids?
Just broke up with my girlfriend of almost 3 years. But I'm happy. So
now you can invest a little bit more in yourself. Be happy. You're 30 years old, single, no kids. Last question, Hung. What do you wish you knew 10 years ago when you were 20?
I think if you follow the process, life will be all right.
Guys, follow the process. He sold his first company, used his winnings to go all in as a sole founder, owning 100% of Y42.com. Again, a new way to manage your data in an easy way. Growth engineers, analysts, heads of data are using it. They're growing about 50 customers today. They just passed $1 million run rate earlier this year, up from $4,000 a month about a year ago. So healthy growth rate, $31 million Series A raise, still between 15 and 20% of the business as they look to scale, attracting great talent, 70 on the team today. Check them out at Y42.com. Hung, thanks for taking us to the top.
Nathan, thank you so much.
One more thing before you go. We have a brand new show every Thursday at 1 p.m. Central. It's called Shark Tank for SaaS. We call it Deal or Bust. One founder comes on, 3 hungry buyers. They try and do a deal live, and the founder shares back-end dashboards, their expenses, their revenue, ARPU, CAC, LTV, you name it, they share it. And the buyers try and make a deal live. It is fun to watch every Thursday, 1 p.m. Central. Additionally, remember, these recorded founder interviews go live. We release them here on YouTube every day at 2 p.m. Central. To make sure you don't miss any of that, make sure you click the subscribe button below here on YouTube, the big red button, and then click the little bell notification to make sure you get notifications when we do go live. I wouldn't want you to miss breaking news in the SaaS world, whether it's an acquisition, a big fundraise, a big sale, a big profitability statement, or something else. I don't want you to miss it. Additionally, if you want to take this conversation deeper and further, we have by far the largest private Slack community for B2B SaaS founders. You want to get in there. We've probably talked about your tool if you're running a company or your firm if you're investing. You can go in there and quickly search and see what people are saying. Sign up for that at nathanlatka.com/Slack. In the meantime, I'm hanging out with you here on YouTube. I'll be in the comments for the next 30 minutes. Feel free to let me know what you thought about this episode. And if you enjoyed it, click the thumbs up. We get a lot of haters that are mad at how aggressive I am on these shows, but I do it so that we can all learn. We have to counter those people. We got to push them away. Click the thumbs up below to counter them and know that I appreciate your guys' support. All right, I'll be in the comments. See ya.